So I have some quick thoughts about the state of the world. um, Essentially, if we really look at it, we follow the money trail. Um, there's a lot going on with regards to Israel, Palestine, Iran, Venezuela, United States, Ukraine, Russia, all the things, right? But as I've been thinking about this, there's multiple layers, and one of those is the evangelical Christian layer. Another layer is the money. Another layer is the resources. Another layer is the historical layers. But if you look at what's happened with a lot of politicians in U.S. politics, they make, let's say congressman, congresswoman makes, let's say, $165,000 a year salary, and then they get these benefits, right, from the U.S. government, such as health care. I think it's lifetime. And I think they have special incentives when it comes to what they pay in taxes or don't pay in taxes as well, right? I think they have like a tax-free roll or something. And then on top of that, a lot of them get paid over $1 million a year, some 1.8 million, by super PACs and different financiers in the form of like AIPAC, which is an Israeli one. So when it comes down to loyalties, they're making $1.8 million from like an AIPAC, and they're making $167,000 from the U.S. government. Who do you think they're going to be more loyal to, or what do you think they're going to do in order to maintain that money flow? And as I think about it, they probably can't say much negative about Israel, can't really point out the problems, or they would cut that money flow off, and it could even mean their life would be in danger for saying something in critique of the nation of Israel. So, and then when you look at why we've, so if you've got money flow coming into the politicians, and then you've got money sort of like flow going back to Israel in the form of United States military, weapons and arms and vehicles and all kinds of stuff like that. It's like a cycle. It's a cyclical thing. Your money's coming into the politicians. The politicians are making sure that weapons and artillery go back to Israel. And I'm not saying all of it is necessarily the most evil motive, because some of it may just be the protection aspect of the nation. But at the same time, though, the nation has done a lot of damage to people at a scale that is, I want to say, 20 times or more worse than what has been done to them by neighboring nations. And I'm talking about in recent years. I'm talking about in I think they call it the September or the December conflict issue that it started a war and whatnot. But it's very convenient to actually have a war happen when the leader is looking for an escape or an excuse not to be tried for criminal behaviors, which is what happened to Netanyahu. So, but also the amount of casualties that Israel inflicted on Palestine in response to that October, I think, 17th attacks. I'm not saying those attacks were good, but I'm saying the contrast. I think the attacks killed about 1,200 or so. So about 1,200 Israelis. Not saying that's okay, not saying that was good, but we should also look at why those attacks happened, what led up to that. But then in response to that, over 120 to 160,000 Palestinians were killed in response to the 1,200 that were killed. So we're talking about a 100x difference, roughly. That's just insane, and it hasn't stopped. So I just think that we need to be realistic about what we're seeing factually happening, and who has the bigger sticks, who's causing the more of the abuse, who's causing more of the turmoil on who. And the fact that Israel has known to take out entire blocks of buildings with bombs instead of specifically targeting an enemy. They're targeting they're impacting lots of innocent lives. And that's been a pattern of theirs. So I think we have to be very detailed and specific and accurate when we look at the comparisons, the contrasts, the differences, the pros, the cons. But I have an issue with the fact that a lot of our politicians can't speak negatively about Israel, whether it be a religious reason, with American Christianity and how we've developed our theology around that, which I don't think is balanced or biblically accurate fully. I can see verses that talk about it, but I can also see verses where God rebukes Israel for doing things that are heinous. God does not back ugly things, like ugly behavior towards other people groups. He doesn't back that. And you can't sanitize that or baptize that. So those are some thoughts. Whether it's that reason or whether it's the money that keeps people quiet. So I hope this causes some of us to think more deeply, think more critically, be accurate, be balanced. Have a great night.